Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so I think this is going to be rapid fire, so 5 minutes. So I'm going to, 10 minutes. John, is it 10 or 5? 10? It's 10? Okay. Okay, so we're Link Ventures. We will be asking you questions and judging you, but I do want it to be interactive, so folks in the room definitely ask questions once they're done with the pitch. So go ahead.
Cool. Is this, yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Drew Cousin. This is my co-founder, Bennett Thompson. We are creating talent's last mile to industry with an education platform launching in July. Due to the speed of innovation today, college is no longer a one-time, one-stop shop for learning all the skills talent will need in their careers. To fill skilled gaps, accelerated education models have emerged called boot camps. As it stands today, boot camps are basically like their own boat in the ocean, building out their own talent pools, defending those talent pools, and creating next step opportunities for that talent. This is an extremely stressed environment for bootcamp operators, as they spend more time focusing on marketing than education. And also, this environment creates talent silos that are very inefficient for employers to source from, leaving standout talent lost in the maze. BlockBeam is the solution. We are a bootcamp-owned education platform. Here's how it works. Talent comes to the platform, and they navigate through the collection of boot camps. Upon graduation, they get access to the job section, where employers have visibility to a variety of metrics derived from their boot camp performance. The platform is owned by a DAO, in which people earn ownership based on referring talent, referring jobs, or providing education to that talent base. In this structure, we create an environment where boot camps are incentivized to share both talent and employer pools. The demand for the BlockBeam token is driven by the platform's revenue model, which is 10% of all hosted boot camps' revenue, plus a 10% fee charged to employers for sourcing talent out of the pool. This structure will unlock an enormous amount of value. On the employer side, employers can now navigate pools across pools efficiently rather than dealing with individual talent silos. On the bootcamp side, education will improve due to bootcamps being able to focus specifically on education rather than spending all their time worrying about talent on and off ramps. Finally, talent will discover a clear path to industry based on bootcamp tracks that have been stress tested on their effectiveness of launching employees into the space.
So we have bootstrapped profitable revenue to help fund the development of our platform launching in July. Right now, we co-operate 2 boot camps, one with Algorand Foundation and one with Coinmetrics, whereas Reach solely operates a technical boot camp where you can learn more about them in 310 and Studio One. Right, with zero marketing spend, we'll graduate over 200 students from 70 different universities. The market is growing rapidly. Technical boot camps will reach $1 billion in revenue by 2023, and this does not account for non-technical boot camps. In the future, we plan to reposition to enterprise-level training, which is a $370 billion market. Join BlockBeam in launching the next generation of talent. We are currently looking for educators and recruiters to become early partners of the platform, and we are raising a seed round in late July. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. So I'm a big fan. As I mentioned to you guys, I looked at Career Karma, also a lead gen business for boot camps, focusing on coding boot camps. So you said that you have zero acquisition. We're a direct-to-consumer internet investor, so I'm very interested in that. Are you guys using SEO? Are you building content? How are you thinking about that? Question 1. Question 2, you mentioned Algorand. Are there any other certain protocols that you're focusing on? And just personally, I believe in this. I do. I don't think that, all of us went to Ivy League schools here, but I don't think that's the way of the future. I think that you can just go through retraining and go through boot camps versus going and spending a whole bunch of money on higher ed. So huge fan. But yeah, let's focus on first the acquisition question.
Take that.
Yeah, so all of our acquisition has been really through word of mouth right now. I used to work for a nonprofit called Blockchain Education Network, where I connected with over like 80 blockchain club leaders across the US. So through those relationships, we've been able to generate different student pools that come take the platform. And then in the long term, we'll have this referral fee. So essentially, student club leaders can finally like monetize their networks by bringing more students or people to the platform.
Yeah, and just to add to that a little bit, so our strategy has been working directly with the clubs to basically create a repository of success stories, which we are then using now to go back to the universities. This is the value your students are getting, and coming up with more formalized partnerships that, of course, will stand the test of time. Faculty's longer than students.
Yeah, so I also see there's tremendous value in you owning the platform. So how are you going to own the platform where people could be submitting code, let's say, a new GitHub?
Could you repeat that question?
How are you going to be owning the platform where people will be showing their work as a way to get hired?
So how will we be approaching that strategy?
No, meaning how will you be owning the platform where people could be sharing their code? I think we discussed this earlier,
Okay.
Benjamin, yeah.
Yeah, so for each boot camp, everyone's kind of like individualized, and there's different projects for each boot camp. Your project that you come up with in the boot camp is owned by yourself. Like, we're not taking ownership of anything produced in the boot camps. That project, you can opt in to be showcased on your profile. If you want to continue to work on it, then obviously, like, you can select the option to not show it on your profile.
Okay, so any questions from the peanut gallery here? Any other questions for the team? Yes, way in the back. How is it going to be structured differently than a acqui-hire?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we actually want to work with hackathon operators. So if you talk to bootcamp operators, hackathon operators, you actually spend the majority of your time marketing more than anything else. So creating that original talent pipeline and then creating an employer network or secondary education network to serve as an off-ramp. So it's not necessarily different, right? We just want to create a pool where all those experiences are working synergistically. It's that idea where, if there's 10 boot camps already on the platform, by onboarding your operation, you're getting access to that whole pipeline of that group of 10, and then, of course, becoming incrementally more valuable as more hackathons and boot camp operators utilize the network.
Get a question over here.
How do you think about
Verifiable credentials. Great question.
Yeah, great question. So actually, early on, we were working with some DID providers about creating credentialing on chain. Just early on in our product strategy, we've drifted away from it a little bit, just because we're operating with a pretty centralized platform. There is decentralized ownership, but the employers that are going to really recognize the value of these credentials early on will likely be the ones actually on the platform. But there's tons of different DID providers popping up, and that's definitely something we want to do in the future.
Yeah, remind me after this, I'll connect you with one.
Awesome.
So something I really like about your approach is that you're starting with the community. We've seen so many companies start up in Web3 that are starting thinking about the business model or the product. And really in Web3, you have to think about the community first, and you're already tapping into that through your network and through the DAO you mentioned. How do you plan on building the culture of your company and community as it expands and time goes on?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think community is one of the biggest, especially in education, that we haven't seen before, especially from like a non-traditional look. I mean, university, there's some communities.